Good afternoon and welcome to Listen at Lunch. It's 20 minutes just for you to hear from somebody that you might not come across, to learn something new, to listen to some experience. And today we're talking to Matt Travis, who is the owner of Enzygo. So Enzygo's been going for
16 years, and I'm really pleased you called it Enzygo because I've had to correct everybody from not calling us Enzygo.
Oh no,
From every event we've been at, and it's not a hemorrhoid cream.
Oh, nice. So where did the name come from?
So it's always an interesting conversation because I've done a load of events, and we've been Mark Durden-Smith called us a hemorrhoid cream at the Insider events. But where did Enzygo come from? So we set out, and when we set out, we'd left a large FTSE 250 PLC, and we set out as the three of us to set the business up. And we didn't want to be a three-letter acronym. A lot of businesses in our world are three-letter acronyms, and we didn't want to be that because if we had been, it was Travis, Cumberledge and Parr, and that spells TCP, which we thought left a bit of an aftertaste. So what we did is we thought, let's do something that resembles us. So we thought we're a bit of an embryonic company and we're growing, so we want to be called Zygo.
Okay.
But Zygo's a trade name for a drug.
Right.
So we thought, we can't do that. And Zygo had gone at that point. So one of the wives, and I can't remember which one it was, said, well, you're an environmental company, so why not call yourself Enzygo?
Okay.
And that's where it came from.
That's where it was born.
So it's become, we've not changed the logo over 16 years of business. And for us, it's become a name and a brand, which has been really good.
And now, so we're 16 years in. Mm-hmm. Have you changed a lot?
Yes and no. So in business, you find, and you'll know this from your business, you're almost reinventing you and your business every 18 months.
Yeah,
because
it's true.
It's a bit like you're a shark in a pond, and if you're not sort of swimming and moving and growing, other people are going to come and eat you up and take your staff. So we have changed a lot. We changed from when we started. It was very much all about the three of us. So people would come to Enzygo because they want to work with Matt, or they want to work with Kevin, or they want to work with Pete. And as we've grown and grown, we've built the breadth of the business in terms of the services we offer. We're much more systemised than we ever were. Okay. When you first start up, you want to reject timesheets, and you want to reject policies, and you want to reject all that red tape.
You just want to do the nitty-gritty and avoid as much bureaucracy as possible, don't you?
But you actually realise to run a business you need systems and red tape, and that's one of the things that comes in. And then as we've grown, we've become more supporting of community things. We're very passionate about mental health, very passionate about schools and feeding back and bringing on the next generation, and also obviously green, carbon, wildlife. And as you grow, there becomes an inflection point in your business as your turnover goes up, where you can start getting involved in more social things or networking or things like the chamber, because it's not all about I need to win my next job to get my income for tomorrow. Absolutely. And that's been a big change for us. And
the services that are offered now, so I know you cover a whole host of things, but just a quick overview, what services do you cover at the moment?
Well, somebody referred to it as my wheelhouse the other day, which I thought was quite good. So on the new website, I've got this spinning wheel of services.
Oh, okay.
So we are a plan and development led company. So 90% of the things we do is to do with the built environment. So obviously planning and environmental impact assessment are at the top. So that's planning for any sort of built development, and that might be from residential to leisure, to waste to jet fuel, to carbon capture, to oil and gas, all across a huge range of services that we offer. And then underneath that, we've got what we call technical services. So there's hydrology and flood risk, there's landscape architecture and design, there's noise assessments, there's air quality assessments, and there's environmental permitting for discharges with the Environment Agency or SEPA or Natural Resources Wales. We've got geo-environmental, so a lot of work that we do on ground, foundations, slope stability. So it's really all across those technical disciplines, with ecology as well. I've probably missed somebody out, but if you look at enzygo.com, you'll find
I suppose we can find all that on the website, can't we? So what would you say has been the best parts of whether that's starting the business, not necessarily always successes, but what have been the best parts for you?
I think so right at the very beginning of starting Enzygo, I came out of I was an ops director in a FTSE 250 company, and I used to spend an awful lot of time travelling around the country. I'd be up in Scotland, I'd be in Edinburgh, I'd be in Bristol, I'd be in London. And my youngest daughter's the same age as Enzygo, so she's 16. She was born in the July that we set up in the March. And one of the best parts, I think, about setting up your own business is having that control of your diary.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And having that control of your world. And what it enabled me to do is a couple of key things for me. I never missed a school play. And I always used to try and reserve a Friday afternoon to go and pick the kids up. And that to me, was one of the great freedoms of running your own business. I know it sounds silly.
No,
but that was a really great...
It's the main objective for me.
Well, you'll know it, because you and I will be at a Christmas dinner for the Chamber, and there'll be Matt and Joda leaving at 2:30.
Pick the kids up.
Pick the kids up.
Always. And I don't think we should have to pick and choose between our careers and our family.
I agree.
My little one's only 5, and he's not always going to want me to take him to school. He's going to get too cool, isn't he?
I don't know. I'm taking my daughter home from college tonight. She's 17, so...
Oh, yeah, well, now you're back, but now you've become a taxi, haven't you, where you're going to be ferrying her everywhere. But yeah, the fact that I don't have to choose between doing a school run or if there's a special assembly, that's so important to me. And making sure that it's the same for staff. If staff need to work different hours, it makes no difference to me, as long as everybody's job's getting done. If you want to start at 9:30, then you start at 9:30.
But you've changed that. That's something that's really important in business, is culture. So if you change your culture to a deliverable culture, where you're looking at deliverables or you're looking at hitting a target or a budget, then flexible working works really well. The problem that you've got is if you're flexibly working and you're not delivering on a target and you're not delivering on outputs and budgets, that's when it's a problem.
Then you've got a problem.
But most people can... it's interesting you talk about that, because we've always had flexible working at Enzygo, right from day one. We heavily invested in comms, in IT. We were on VoIP phones before they became the thing. We were using Skype before it became Teams. And we used that a lot, and we always had people who could work at home a bit. So when COVID came, we could flick our business, and we got competitors who you're ringing a phone and it never got answered, whereas it didn't matter to us. And that culture is probably another thing in the business, that having that team culture, that supportive culture, an open door policy, people can talk to you. That's been a really key thing for me. I think when you say some of the successes, I always felt for a long time in Enzygo that I was growing this sort of monolith of a business, because we're not huge, but we're now up to sort of 8 million quid. We've got 70 staff. We doubled in the last 7 years. I never felt we got sort of recognition for what we'd grown, and then we won the Barnsley Rotherham Chamber Awards for Growth 2 years running.
Fantastic, yeah.
And it was that point when I thought people actually do recognise what we're doing. And we never did it for personal recognition, but it was nice to see that your peers in other business, and that was quite a celebration for us.
So if anybody wants to find out more about you or Enzygo, where do they go?
So if you want to find more about Enzygo, it's at enzygo.com. If you want to find out more about me or some of the charities and things, you can look me up at LinkedIn. I'm Matt Travis on LinkedIn. We've also got an Instagram platform, which is at Enzygo, and you'll find out a lot of things about what we're doing.
I think people will be having a quick Google of you.
Well, I'll mark you on that, and I'll tell you how many do. But don't mix me up with the other Matt Travis, who's the head of defence in the United States.
Oh, is it?
Or the racing car driver.
But somebody mistook you this week. Didn't you have one day where you were mistaken for 3 people?
Well, it's funny because we do a lot of work with a charity called SAFAC, which is Safe Families and Children. And my friend Dan's their CEO. He's done huge work putting fostering into Paraguay. Worked out in sort of Uganda. He's worked in Burkina Faso. He's worked in Myanmar. And he invited me to the House of Lords. And somebody rather funnily thought I was Boris Johnson, which I didn't find funny, but obviously you think it's hilarious. And then somebody else told me I got hair like Donald Trump, so it's not particularly been a great week last week, Joda.
Well, people sometimes mistake me for Beyonce, but I take that as a
compliment. Well, that's a compliment for you.
Thanks, Matt.
It's okay.